1968 gave us the Beatles shaking the world with Hey Jude, Jimi Hendrix setting guitars ablaze at every festival, and the Rolling Stones snarling through Jumpin' Jack Flash. But that was only the beginning. From iconic anthems to overlooked gems, these are 12 rock hits from 1968 you'll love forever. Number 12, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida by Iron Butterfly.
Gadda-Da-Vida, baby. Don't you know that I'll always be true?
17 minutes. That's how long it took Iron Butterfly to carve their name into rock history. Released in June 1968, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida wasn't just a song. It was an odyssey. Born from a slurred attempt at the phrase "in the Garden of Eden," the track became the defining statement of psychedelic excess. Its hypnotic riff, pounding drums, and swirling organ solos turned every dorm room into a cathedral of sound. Picture it. Incense smoke curling, lava lamps glowing, and a needle digging into vinyl as time seemed to stand still.
Oh, baby, don't you know that I'll always be true?
The record label thought the song was far too long to survive radio play, but fans proved them wrong. DJs cut it down to a 3-minute version for the airwaves, yet the full-length cut is what sent the album soaring to platinum, one of the first rock LPs ever to do so. It became the soundtrack of a counterculture eager to push beyond boundaries, influencing bands from Yes to Deep Purple. In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida wasn't just music. It was a rite of passage. Number 11, Magic Carpet Ride by Steppenwolf. If Born to Be Wild made Steppenwolf legends, Magic Carpet Ride proved they weren't a one-trick band. Released in late 1968 on their second album, The Second, this track invited listeners to escape into a hazy, Technicolor dreamscape. The band argued in the studio about whether it should even be a single, but when that fuzzed-out guitar intro hit the airwaves, there was no doubt this was psychedelic hard rock at its most irresistible. Imagine cruising down Sunset Boulevard in a Mustang, windows down, radio blasting as John Kay's gritty vocals promised freedom beyond the horizon. It captured the mix of grit and wonder that defined '68, a world torn between protest marches and starlit festivals.
In the night, any place that goes is right. Flies far, goes near, to the stars away from here. Well,
Magic Carpet Ride hit the top 3 on the charts and cemented Steppenwolf as counterculture prophets. Decades later, it's still a staple in movies and commercials, proof that the ride never really ended. Number 10, Sunshine of Your Love.
light shining through on you. You, my love.
By Cream few riffs are as instantly recognizable as the opening to Sunshine of Your Love. Written in late 1967 but propelled into dominance throughout 1968, this track showcased the power trio of Eric Clapton, Jack Bruce, and Ginger Baker at their finest. Jack Bruce's bass line, reportedly inspired by a Hendrix performance, anchored the song with hypnotic force. Add Clapton's searing guitar tone and Baker's thunderous drums, and you had a track that redefined what a rock single could sound like. Picture a crowded club in '68. Flashing strobe lights, bodies swaying, kids air guitaring that legendary riff while the smell of smoke and sweat hung in the air. It wasn't just a song, it was an atmosphere, a mood that grabbed you by the chest and refused to let go. Sunshine of Your Love climbed into the US top 5, marking Cream's biggest hit. To this day, it remains a cornerstone of rock guitar education, the riff every beginner dreams of mastering. Number 9, Piece of My Heart by Big Brother and the Holding Company, Feat, Janis Joplin. By 1968, Janis Joplin had become the fiery face of San Francisco's psychedelic scene, and Piece of My Heart was her battle cry. Originally recorded as a soul track, Joplin and Big Brother transformed it into a raw, rock-soaked scream of emotion on their breakthrough album Cheap Thrills.
Honey, didn't I give you nearly everything I ever had to give? I tried to do it. Each time I tell
Every line she sang felt ripped straight from her soul, a combination of pain, power, and unrelenting honesty. Fans remember hearing it on the radio and feeling like nothing else compared. It was messy, loud, and unpolished, but that was the point. It captured the chaos of the counterculture era in a way no polished pop song could. The single stormed into the top 20 and cemented Joplin as a once-in-a-generation voice. Half a century later, it remains one of the defining female-led rock performances in history, a song that still rattles speakers and hearts alike. Number 8. Born to be Wild by Steppenwolf.
All of my guns at once and exploded to space.
If any song captured the spirit of 1968 rebellion, it was Born to be Wild. Written by Mars Bonfire and unleashed on Steppenwolf's debut album, the track became an anthem for every biker, drifter, and dreamer with a need for freedom. Its lyrics introduced the phrase heavy metal into rock's vocabulary, foreshadowing an entire genre that would dominate the next decade. Close your eyes and you can still see it. Leather jackets glinting under neon lights, chrome Harleys roaring down highways that stretched endlessly into the horizon.
Wanna be wild, we can climb so high. I never wanna die.
This wasn't just a song, it was a declaration of independence. Born to be Wild climbed to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 and later became the heartbeat of the cult film Easy Rider. More than half a century later, it still makes engines rev and fists rise. Simply put, it is rock's eternal call of the wild. Number 7. White Room by Cream Psychedelic. Haunting. And drenched in wah-wah. White Room was Cream at their most experimental. Released in 1968 on their double album Wheels of Fire, the song painted vivid landscapes with lyrics written by poet Pete Brown. Eric Clapton's wah-wah drenched guitar riffs, combined with Ginger Baker's thunderous drumming, created a sound that felt like both a dream and a nightmare. Fans remember the first time they heard that intro, a slow build. Almost orchestral, that suddenly burst into one of the most iconic grooves of the late 60s. It captured the duality of the era. Dark lyrics paired with dazzling musical invention, the single cracked the US top 10 and became one of Cream's signature songs, ensuring that even as the band fractured, their music would echo for decades. Number 6. All Along the Watchtower by Jimi Hendrix. When Hendrix took a Bob Dylan track and transformed it into his own, rock history was rewritten. Released in September 1968, his version of All Along the Watchtower turned Dylan's cryptic ballad into a guitar-fueled apocalyptic vision. Hendrix's wailing solos and fiery rhythm work pushed the boundaries of what an electric guitar could do. Dylan himself later admitted that Hendrix had truly made the song his own. It climbed into the US top 20 and quickly became Hendrix's most popular single. Today, it remains one of the greatest cover songs in history and a benchmark for rock musicians everywhere. Quick break in our countdown. If these 1968 classics are bringing back memories, hit that like button to keep the rock alive. And stick around, because our top 5 tracks include an anthem that saved a band's career and a number 1 that shocked critics before conquering the world. Number 5. Jumpin' Jack Flash by the Rolling Stones. By 1968, the Stones had shaken off their psychedelic detour and returned to raw, swaggering rock and roll. Jumpin' Jack Flash was their rebirth. A gritty riff-driven monster powered by Keith Richards' guitar and Mick Jagger's defiant vocals. It hit #1 in the UK and became an instant stadium favorite. The track emerged from Richards experimenting with open tuning, creating a riff that sounded both menacing and joyful. Jagger described it as a return to their roots, and audiences agreed. It was the Stones stripped down and revitalized. Picture summer nights in '68, transistor radios buzzing, teens stomping their feet as Jagger sneered out every line. The song became their live show opener for decades, proving that even after controversy and chaos, the Stones still ruled the rock throne. Number 4, Helter, Skelter by the Beatles. If there was ever a track that hinted at heavy metal before it even existed, it was Helter, Skelter. Released on the White Album in 1968, Paul McCartney shocked fans by leading the loudest, most chaotic Beatles song ever recorded. His intent was simple: to outdo The Who in sheer volume and grit.
Till I get to the bottom, I see you again. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The result was an explosion of distorted guitars, screaming vocals, and unrelenting energy. The recording sessions became legendary for their intensity. Ringo Starr famously shouted, "I've got blisters on my fingers," at the end of one take, cementing the song's raw edge. For fans, it felt like the world's biggest band had just reinvented themselves yet again, trading sweetness for pure sonic chaos. Helter Skelter not only expanded rock's boundaries, it inspired the birth of hard rock and heavy metal. Decades later, its fury still rattles the walls. Number 3, Hurdy, Gurdy Man by Donovan.
Then when the hurdy-gurdy man, he comes singing the songs of love.
Donovan may have been known as a folk troubadour, but in 1968 he tapped into the psychedelic current with Hurdy, Gurdy Man. Darker and heavier than his earlier hits, the track pulsed with distorted guitars and eerie chanting. Backed by a lineup rumored to include future Led Zeppelin members, though accounts vary, the song blurred the line between folk and acid rock. Listeners of the time recall its strange, almost mystical quality. A song that felt like a spell being cast over the airwaves. It climbed into the top 5 in both the US and UK, giving Donovan one of his most enduring hits. Hurdy Gurdy Man proved that even artists outside the hard rock scene could channel the heavier, psychedelic edge of 1968 and captivate audiences with a sound unlike anything else. Number 2, Hey Jude by the Beatles.
Then you begin to make it better, better, better.
7 minutes long, endlessly singable, and filled with emotion, Hey Jude was more than a song. It was an experience. Released as a standalone single in 1968, it became the Beatles' longest #1 hit in the US, holding the top spot for 9 weeks. Written by Paul McCartney for John Lennon's son Julian, the track began as a gentle ballad and erupted into an extended sing-along coda that invited the whole world to join in. Radio DJs hesitated to play it due to its length, but fans demanded otherwise. By the time the song hit its na-na-na climax, it had transformed into a communal anthem of hope and resilience. Imagine being in a crowd in '68, strangers linking arms and singing together as if nothing else in the world mattered. Hey Jude didn't just top charts, it united people in a turbulent year, proving that music could still heal. Number 1, All Along the Watchtower by Jimi Hendrix. If there's one song that defines 1968 rock, it's Hendrix's All Along the Watchtower. Bob Dylan may have written it, but Hendrix transformed it into a thunderous, apocalyptic anthem. Released in September '68, his version was a revelation. Dylan's cryptic words became electric prophecy, carried on waves of wailing solos and searing rhythm. Every note sounded like the end of the world and the beginning of something new. Picture hearing it for the first time on a crackling FM radio, the swirling guitars, the sense of urgency, the unmistakable cry of Hendrix's voice. Critics and fans alike were stunned, and even Dylan himself admitted Hendrix had owned the song completely. It peaked in the US Top 20, but its cultural impact was immeasurable, influencing generations of rock musicians. More than 50 years later, it remains one of the greatest covers, one of the greatest Hendrix performances, and one of the greatest rock tracks ever recorded. If that gave you chills, tap like and subscribe to keep the spirit of rock alive. From anthems that shook stadiums to psychedelic journeys that bent minds, 1968 was a year when rock broke every boundary. Thanks for joining us on this ride through history. Up next, the unforgettable rock songs of 1969. Click the video on your screen and keep the music rolling.